Tuesday night. I know nobody sees this part, but I got to kill 20 seconds somehow. Okay, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. Makeup, beard, lights. There you go. Okay. Look, a flash. Still waiting. 30 seconds, 35 seconds. Meanwhile, back to ranch. Here's 40. Come on, YouTube. Sometime today. Jacob says 5x5. I can't see anything. Okay, here comes my screen and nutrient survival again. Go figure. Close. Okay, get back to where I can see me. Put that up. All right, so we got a bunch of 5x5s. Swithers, 7 Customs. Psst, it's me, Dave Madry, Nostradamus, Doug Kuhn, 54 Cal, Leon O'Reilly, Heaven's Fire, Emma Bryan. Cool, you guys can see me. Happy Tuesday night, guys. Yes, war, makeup, all taken care of. The beard is doing well. Lights are still on. Yeah. It was fun today with weather. We had storms roll in, rain come in today, and rain from 5 in the morning or thereabouts, still somewhere around 3 o'clock. We got a hard rain at 3. And so it was kind of cloudy. We were still getting some solar input, but not max, obviously. So the generators are down a little bit. Obviously now sun's pretty low in the horizon, so we're not full going into tomorrow, but tomorrow's supposed to be sunny. But we have been on solar strictly since Sunday night at 4:45. So the system seems to be working well and doing what I was hoping it would. So all things considered. As for me around here, besides playing the rain, the other thing the rain was good for is I got a chance to test out my new drain that I put in to drain the water off the top of the hill and put it in the pond. That would seem to work well today. I mean, it didn't rain super hard, but we were pumping water well, so that helped. So the fish are happy. That was good. Gardens, of course, got watered, so they are happy. My onions and my cabbage look just absolutely phenomenal. It's just amazing. So very happy. The garlic still looks great. Beets are still coming. Potatoes have popped. I know a bunch of you guys were talking earlier about your potatoes. My potatoes have come out of the ground, so that's good. Peppers look good. Tomatoes are getting huge in the greenhouse. I can't wait to get them in, and I still got 2 more weeks to wait. Because today is our last frost date around here. So obviously wait a little bit after that. So that was it. And other than that, I spent the day in the garage on Mrs. P's got me on a couple of building projects. I've got one of my own, and she's got 2 others. So I was working today on a portable, collapsible, storable solar array. So for the other 2 panels I have, so I can charge my small generators and have stuff for the garage, so I can just roll that out. So was working on that today. Yes, I filmed it. You guys will see that probably this weekend. It's the way I'm building it is a little different than most people have showed before. There's a little more intricacy to it. Just make it a little more efficient. But I'll show you what I did there. Whether you care or not, that's up to you. And then Mrs. P's got me making a couple more carpenter bee traps. That's real difficult, but so I was working on those. But that was my day. Pretty simple stuff. So waiting to see what's on y'all's mind tonight. It's been kind of a interesting day with Trump getting a $9,000 fine for violating this idiotic gag order. But the judge is going to allow him to go to Barron's high school graduation. How generous of the judge. Okay. I mean, I'm thinking Trump is like, damn, I was going to go anyway and let him throw me in jail. That would have been fun. Some crackerjack box law degree judge has, embarrassed the crap out of him. But yeah, so that was about it. Of course, we've still got the whole deal with Zelensky and Biden trying to completely corrupt the U.S. political system, which I still get a kick out of that whole thing, that Biden and Zelensky are going to come up with a deal that Ukraine gets funded for 10 years. I'm like, it doesn't work that way, Joe. You're not a dictator. I know you want to be one, but unless Congress ratifies any sort of treaty, it means nothing. Okay. It's like Nancy Pelosi coming out today and saying, we're going to make abortion legal across the country before the end of Biden's term. Like, good luck getting the House of Representatives to sign off on that one. Not happening. Okay. It's, they, all this talk that they, I'm going to pay off your student loans, and there's idiots that believe this because 8th grade civics class is more of an education than most people ever got. It's like, oh, gee, the president can't just say it's a law and it's a law. I never knew that. Yeah, well, you know what? The rest of us who actually paid attention in junior high school, know what's going on there. So, yeah, just kind of a screwball stuff there. But all right, let's get into Q&A here. We'll do more of that tonight than me running my mouth. So as per normal, if you've got questions, please put them in all caps, just like every other channel out there. Okay, it just makes it easier for me to find it. The only thing I require, pretty much everybody knows, nobody being rude, nobody being obnoxious, engage brain before putting fingers in gear. If you wouldn't want somebody to say something like that to you, don't say it to somebody else. That includes me. That includes anybody in the chat room. Okay. I don't care if you want to pick on Joe Biden. That's fine. Okay. Or Kamala Harris or Nancy Pelosi or Adam Schiff, or I can go on and on and on and on. Okay. But anybody that's in here is off limits. All right. Let's see where we start. We'll get up here. We saw a bunch of stuff coming through already, so we'll get into what we got. There we go. Snake bite, how's the fish pond going? Fish are anywhere between 6 and 8 inches long. I have not seen any beds yet. It might still be a little bit early for them to get in bed, but I'm hoping that happens, because that was kind of the whole point of getting the bluegill I got, and not hybrids, because I want them to reproduce, because the whole point is food. So as long as they reproduce, I can catch fish, and I've still got more fish coming down the road. Let's see. Fat Daddy's Outdoor Cooking made a video yesterday on how to hill potatoes. Good idea. Okay. Now I'm hoping that you did it more by hand, and not necessarily, with the push behind potato hiller that will cost you $300, $400, $500 to buy. There's no problem whatsoever about getting out there with a hoe and just going, ho, 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 not being Santa Claus, not calling Kamala Harris out. But yeah, I mean, hilling potatoes is very important, because otherwise you wind up with a whole bunch of green potatoes that are useless for anything other than seed potatoes. So, yeah. And again, more power to you for doing it, because I know, and a lot of other people know, not everybody's gardened before. I mean, this could be the first time somebody's ever planted potatoes, and they go, gee, what do I do now? Okay. We've got to remember that in a lot of things that we do, especially when it comes to prepping, is there's a lot of newbies that stuff that we take for granted. Those of us that have been doing this for years and years, the stuff that we take for granted, there's other people that are going, why do I need Mylar bags? Or, I don't know, pick something else. Can you can this? We all had those questions at one time. Be patient with the people that are asking. Be happy that they're asking. Be happy they're not one of the ones who figures out, hey, I'm going to buy a new jet ski, and when the shit blows up, I'm just going to come to your house. Okay. Be happy they figured out that part ain't going to work. Let's see. Prep Rebel, how many batteries do you think it will take for a whole home system? Solar. Okay. Again, depending on the size of the house, And like every other question, depending on what you want to run, if you throw your HVAC system in there, you're going to need a shitload of batteries and a shitload of panels. On the app, which I can't show you obviously because I'm using my phone, I'll show you guys here in the next couple of weeks exactly how the system's working. I'll kind of go through everything so you guys have an idea. But it shows me a pie graph of where the power consumption is in the house. 2/3 of my power consumption over the last 3 days that we've used. Okay, we're using about 10 kilowatts a day from the batteries. Okay, so about 10,000 watts. 2/3 of that is coming from the hot water heater. Doesn't surprise me. Okay, your two biggest, if you got electric, your two biggest power drains in the house are the hot water heater and the HVAC system. Okay. But 2/3 of our power that we are using is for our hot water heater. Now, mind you, I'm running almost all the lights in the house. I'm running my, let's see if I go through, the plugs in the kitchen, okay, which Mrs. P's teapot uses over 1,000 watts when she runs that. My coffee pot, 750 watts when I use that. A microwave. We cooked dinner in a crock pot today. That thing was on for 5 hours and it was either 255 watts or 455 watts it was using for 5 hours. Okay. The well pump, I mean, obviously that's not running, but the hot water heater will run more. A heating element always sucks a lot of juice. So you ask how many panels it would take to run a whole house, or how many batteries it would take to run a whole house. The easiest way to figure that out is go look on your electric bill, okay, and see how many kilowatts you use a day or a month, okay? I looked at my electric bill here just a couple of days ago, so I kind of get an idea of what I might save. And in March, granted, we had to use the heat sometime and HVAC system center, we averaged 42 kilowatts a day. Okay. April is normally nice weather. We don't have to use the HVAC system at all. So April and May are usually our lowest electric bills of the year. If I want to run my HVAC system, 21,600 watts, which I have, would run that system for 5 hours from the batteries going from completely full to completely empty. At that point, you figure I'd need 5 times the size to run my HVAC, right? If I can get 5 hours, there's 24 hours in a day. That would mean I need 100,000 watts. That's bigger than the EcoFlow Delta Ultra full capacity, which will cost you 60 grand to put together. When you talk about running a full house, it depends on what you're going to run. I mean, I've got one circuit in my fuse box to run my doorbell. No, I'm not hooking that up to solar. I really don't care. Okay. When you say whole house, I get it because people would say, okay, I'm just going to put a transfer switch in, which that would run your whole house. In that respect, that's a better idea to run a lot of things than to run a smart panel. Okay. The difference is I can monitor. I was over at Brett's house the other day monitoring my power and input and everything like that from his house on my phone. Couldn't do that with the transfer switch. Okay. So there's pros and cons to both. Don't get me wrong. The fact is I can change anything I want from halfway across the country, as opposed to on a transfer switch, you've got to go out and flip breakers and everything like that. I get it. There's pros and cons to both. But when you say whole house, stop and think and go, okay, what do I want to be running? And then you can start. If you want to run your HVAC system, be prepared to write a huge check. Okay. You want to run everything else, maybe not so much. So I can't really answer how many I think for a whole home, because whose home? Mine or Mark Zuckerberg's? The size of the house matters, everything. I mean, you're out in California. Your electric is some of the most expensive in the country. Yeah. Saving money might not be a bad idea. It's like all of a sudden you go, I got to drop 20 grand to do this. You go, well, hell, that's what I'm paying the electric company in 18 months anyway. So, yeah. Long hair country boy, which panels do I recommend for the Exodus 600? And again, forgive me because I don't have every one of these memorized off the top of my head, what the available input is. I want to say that one had like something like 200 watts of input. For that, I would absolutely go with a little portable panel, one of the suitcase type ones. I wouldn't even waste your time with hard panels for something like that, because the whole point of that thing is portability. I mean, it weighs 8 pounds, right? So you got 8-pound generator in one hand, you got a little portable solar panel in the other hand, and you're good. Don't worry about hard panels. And you guys know I've talked about the 12 C-band panels all the time. Those are the best ones I can find at a good price. And like I say all the time, $159 you can find often, and every once in a blue moon you'll find them for $139. Do not pay the $229 that they ask for sometimes. Wait a week and the price will drop. Carolyn Robbins, will the kale and clay be successful with squash bugs on zucchini? I don't know. I've never tried it on vegetable gardens. I've never heard anybody try it on vegetable gardens. Doesn't mean that there aren't people who've done it. I just know it's good for fruit trees. You're going to have to do some research on that one. I do not know. Like I said, I've never heard of anybody using it on a vegetable garden. Ed Kirkpatrick, when are the law in the college towns going to wake up and throw these occupiers in jail? Well, they've started. I guess, 900 got jailed over the weekend. And then I guess there was hostages taken, 3 janitors, I think it was at Columbia. I think it was Columbia. And the schools came out today, and again, at least Columbia, because this seems to be where the big thing is. They started suspending students, saying, you aren't going back to class, you aren't graduating, you're done. They gave everybody, I think it was till 2:00 today, to either vacate or be suspended. And I mean, again, it's the beginning of April. Most schools end within the next 3 to 6 weeks. Spent all this time. I got 3 weeks left before graduation. If I don't get out of here by 2:00, they're going to suspend me and I'm not going to graduate. We'll see how many stay. Okay. But at a minimum, suspend them all, but then the cops need to keep arresting them. So, and put it on their record. I don't care, gee, I'm sorry, you have a criminal record. I mean, I don't care if it's criminal trespass. Sorry, because most companies I worked for, we ran background checks on potential employees, and speeding tickets were fine, but other stuff, no. Sorry, you failed. You don't get the job. Oh, gee, you screwed up when you were 22, just before you were going to graduate college? You thought you were going to support terrorism? I don't care, you're 47. You ain't getting the job. Okay. Doesn't matter. There is no protected class for a criminal record. Okay. Nobody can say, they're discriminating against me because I have a criminal record. Yeah, we are. Guess what? And there's nothing in the law that says we can't. Salt Mist Cottage. Pinball, thanks for the heads up. My Opus 600 came Monday. I appreciate all the help and insight. There you go. Congratulations, getting something going. Any power is better than no power. And again, you guys know, I mean, I get that the cost on this stuff. Trust me, I was the one writing all these freaking checks. Okay. I get it's expensive and you just build it over time. But it all depends on how far you want to go. I knew what I wanted to do and it was like, okay, I'm going to do this over time. maybe you want something like what I've got. Maybe you want something bigger. Maybe you don't need anything anywhere close. Okay, that's on you. Whatever's comfortable for you, get started. Whether it's buying the first piece or saving the first dollar, the sooner the better. Because eventually there's going to be a day where you go, "Damn, I wish I would have done it earlier." Did I shoot to the bottom there? Yep. Hang on. Back looking. Okay, how far did we go? I got to find where it was. I'm close. Laura Story, Pinball, have you grown cantaloupe or watermelon? I grew watermelon 2 years ago. I grew it in buckets out in the backyard. I mean, I grew the little softball-sized watermelons, and they came out all right. I don't plant the big watermelons or whatever, because those things take up a boatload of space. Because they're vines, they spread all over the place. If you ever grown pumpkins or something, watermelon is the same thing. They'll spread out, 100 feet on the vine. I have grown cantaloupe, I've grown honeydew, I've grown Crenshaw melons here. Honeydew I haven't had really good luck with here. Cantaloupe, I've got some really good cantaloupe and some Crenshaw melons. Crenshaws are very similar to cantaloupe. And what was it? I did that 2 years ago, and I think I planted like 4 plants. I got maybe about a dozen cantaloupe or whatever. And we ate some fresh, and I froze some, and that was it. I mean, it's not a storage staple for us by any means. It was just a treat. It was like, okay, I've got some late summer open space. I think I planted my cantaloupe when my peas were done and let them go from there. And I just dropped seeds in the ground and let it go. That was it. It wasn't anything I was trying hard to. We got melons. So, where was I? Odd One says he got his Opus Exodus today. Good. Storm Chasing Gal, Pinball, brain dead wants Gaza residents sent here. Yeah, Biden's talking about that. I saw Jamal Bowman out there going, yeah, we need to import, or whatever you want to call it, all these Palestinian refugees, Palestinian terrorists. Okay, I'm sorry. If you're still there, if you're still living in Gaza 6 months after this all started, you support Hamas. Do not tell me, oh, Jordan won't let us in. Oh, Egypt won't let us in. Right. The Mexicans don't seem to have any problem finding holes in our border. Okay. I'm not thinking Egypt or Jordan have soldiers every 20 feet. If you wanted to go, you could. If you're still there, you're a terrorist. Okay. So Jamal Bowman says he wants to bring people in. And my tweet back to him was, how many bedrooms do you have in your house? When you fill your house with a bunch of Palestinians, then talk. Otherwise, shut up. That's pretty much the way I look at it. I love all these elites going, yeah, we're going to bring them in and we'll put them in your backyard, right? I mean, look at Martha's Vineyard when Greg Abbott or Ron DeSantis, whichever one, sent up all the illegals to Martha's Vineyard. 24 hours after they were there, they were bussed out. We can't have them. We want them here, but not here, right? That's what that goes on. It's fine for you and I to have a bunch of criminals, homeless running around our neighborhoods, but God, no, it can't be around my neighborhood. No. Original One Shot, One Kill. Pinball, what single firearm do you recommend for income-challenged folks to be prepared? I can't. I can't. I mean, that's not. There's too many variables. Okay. I mean, you can get a decent pistol. Okay. I mean, even if you want to get a 38 or something like that for less than $500. You can get an AR for maybe $600. It's not going to be anything fabulous, okay, but you can get it. Maybe you want a shotgun. You can get a shotgun for less than $300. I mean, even if you go out and get a 22 that you can have that'll cost you less than $200. It's something. And you hear all these people that have never fired a rifle in their life. Oh, a 22 is nothing. You can't do anything with a 22. And every time I hear somebody say that, I said, okay, next time I go out to the range, do me a favor. You go stand and be my target, and I'll shoot you with the 22. I said, if it won't hurt, then you don't have any problem, and I'll get some practice in. And of course, I hear crickets. Oh, it won't do any damage unless, of course, it's being shot at you. And then, of course, now it's a scary thought. 22 can do a lot of damage, guys. Oh, it won't go through armor plating. Ain't a whole lot out there that's available on the civilian market that's going to go through armor plate. So, I can't give you an answer for something like that because what's income challenged? Somebody got $50 extra to spend a month. I can't give you that. I mean, slingshot. I don't know. Again, what's the weapon that somebody needs to own is the one they are comfortable firing. I don't care if they can afford it. It's a good brand. It's the right caliber. If they're afraid of it, it'll never get used. If it doesn't fit their hand or they're not comfortable firing it, it's useless. It's got to be something that they are comfortable using and then get proficient. Fat Daddy. So the golden rule, like Mama taught us to do, is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Exactly. Right. Gwen T. What are my thoughts on goldbacks? A complete ripoff, absolute waste of money. If you look, and I've talked about this many times, if you go do the math, I know everybody loves when I say do the math, on the amount of gold actually in that goldback, and then figure out what you are paying at the price of gold for that goldback, you will find that you are paying about 50% more than the value of the gold. So right now, if you go out and buy a goldback, it's the equivalent, whatever the denomination is, you're paying the equivalent somewhere around $2,000 or $3,600 an ounce for gold by buying it in goldbacks. It is an absolute, utter, complete ripoff. Don't waste your money. William Uremchuk, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name right. Wrong? Right. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name right. Said nobody ever. I don't know a lot about solar. What happens when the roof needs repair? Do the solar panels have to be taken off and rewired? Yes. So when I originally started looking at it 3 years ago, okay, and I was starting to get all my ducks in a row, I had asked around, I had talked to some companies and they're like, okay, how old's your roof? And I'm like, okay, the roof's about 15 years old. And I said it was, original builder's roof. So he's like, yeah, it's probably going to be soon to be replaced. And I'm like, yes, we're going to replace the shingle roof with the metal roof. And he goes, you absolutely want to do that before you put the solar panels up, because if we put the solar panels up, then you want to replace the roof. You got to take all the solar panels down. You got to reinstall them. And obviously they don't do that for free. So yeah, if you've got any time that if you're going to put solar panels up and you need to repair your roof first. Now, the other side of it is, and again, depending on your location, your lot, whatever, a lot of people put a solar array down on the ground, which is easier, okay, because you're not climbing on the roof, and then you don't have this problem. Okay. Now, it depends on if you're like me and you've got a whole bunch of trees. I needed to get higher, so I didn't have as much shadow. So, let's see. Master Blaster, will the rules apply for New York Pro as they did for January 6th? Yeah, I'm assuming by New York Pro, you're talking about the New York Pro test. I'm wondering, I'm waiting to see. I've said it in a video, I think it was yesterday. It's like, when are we going to just throw these people in jail, not charge them for 2.5 years and leave them there? You know, they've actually, I mean, they're actually part of a violent protest. They took hostages today, guys. Okay. Do not tell me that, I mean, please remind me of how many hostages were taken by January 6ers. Well, that would be none. We haven't had any deaths in Colombia yet, but then again, we had 0 deaths from January 6ers, too. Okay? The only people that died at the hands of the Capitol Police. They were the protesters. Nobody, none of this lie crap about the guy who had a heart attack the next day. Sorry, okay, that he wasn't killed by a J6 protester. You know, oh, but he was so stressed out, he had a heart attack. Really, the guy's a career cop, and a bunch of people running around waving flags stressed him out. He works in Washington, D.C., one of the highest crime-ridden cities in the country, and you're going to tell me that a bunch of middle-aged protesters caused him to die. Got it. Okay. Not square to prepare. Pinball, are you going to use your solar on a regular basis to lower my power bill? Absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing. Okay. It's not, it's a benefit to what we have. I mean, y'all know the reason I put this in, the main reason was water. Okay. Obviously, I want to have electricity, I want to have lights. Okay. But the biggest reason I went with what I did was because I wanted to be able to run my well pump. Okay. And then everything else kind of, Mrs. P and I figured out, okay, what do we want to use? What's going to be beneficial? What don't we care about, et cetera, et cetera. And like I told her, I said, okay, I said, we've got it for emergencies. I said, but the last thing I'm going to do is have a $17,000 investment sit back there and not at least try to pay for itself. And, you know, my guess is, I told her, we'll probably save $50 a month on our electricity. Okay, that's $600 a year. It's going to take a while, if ever, that I'll live to see it pay itself off. But that's if electric rates stay where they are. And if you watch the video I talked about the other day, the plans that the Biden administration have are going to make our electric bills between twice as expensive and 2.5 times as expensive as they are now by 2030. Okay. At that point, my payoff is a lot faster because just like gold, okay, it's already paid for. So I can buy the suit with 2024 electricity as opposed to 2030 electricity prices. You know what I'm talking about. You can get the analogy there. Okay. John McGill, I know this probably wouldn't happen, but what would you do if Biden was reelected? Oh my God, please don't make me even imagine that. I know it's certainly possible. I mean, literally, I keep doing exactly what I am doing. I just figured that the end is closer. Original one shot, one kill. Pinball, what is my favorite hardwood to smoke, cooker over? I'm in Texas and I like mesquite. Up here, I do a lot of hickory because that's what is available. But my favorite, when I can find it, is cherry. I love to smoke with cherry wood. But cherry wood's expensive to buy, and unless you can find cherry trees, you know, Michigan, it wasn't bad. Okay, that's probably why I know. That's probably why it's my favorite. It's what I kind of grew up with. But yeah, I mean, cherry wood would be if I had anything. But around here, most of what I do is hickory. What do we do? There's something I used something else now off the top of my. Oh, I used applewood. First time we ran the smoker. No luck today. Do you as a prep stock lumber? Thanks for all you do. Yes, but okay. Some of you guys that have been around here long enough remember this was a couple of years ago now. Me and Mr. Mountaintop Preps got permission to go pick through a construction area and take any of the scrap wood that they had thrown out, just piles and piles of stuff. And I mean, we came home with a trailer full of lumber. I've still got a bunch of it. So yes, in that respect, yes, I do stock lumber. Now, I don't go to the hardware store or Home Depot or anything like that and go, gee, look, 2x4s are on sale. I'm going to get a bunch of them. No, I don't do that. But anything I get in the way of pallets, I keep all the pallets, break them down. I mean, you guys have seen what I do with pallets, okay? Pallets is great lumber to build stuff with on a smaller scale, okay? But this whole portable solar array I'm building, yeah, I had to go buy 2x4s for it. I needed 15 2x4s to put this thing together. Fortunately, 2x4s right now by me are about $2.50 a piece, not $7. So, wasn't terribly expensive. I paid under $40 for all my 2x4s. Penny Willis, I have a generator question. My mom just needs to run a deep freeze that's about 5 feet long. Okay. So I'm guessing that's probably 15 cubic feet, somewhere thereabouts. That'd be my ballpark guess on there. Depending on, now you guys got to remember when it comes to generators, when I say you need to have multiples of whatever I talk about, at least 2, because while you're running one, you need to be charging the other one. Okay, just saying. You have to have some way to do it, because granted it's a freezer and it'll stay relatively cold, but when you go put your panel out or your generator out to charge it in the sun, well, if it's daylight today, there wasn't a whole lot of sun, and if that battery's dead, that freezer's not going to make it for a long time. So you got to have something like that. But to run a 15 cubic foot roughly freezer, if you found like one of the 1800 watt generators, that would be plenty to get you nearly a day out of it. But again, you're going to have to look at the specs on the freezer, see how many watts it uses. Then you're going to have to calculate the watt hours, the usage of the day, and then go from there and figure out how often you want to be. Do you want to have to recharge it every day? Do you want to have to recharge it every 2 days? Every 3 days? The longer you want to wait to recharge it, the bigger you have to get, which means the more moolah you got to spend. But if you're going to charge every day, an 1800 watt, a 2000 watt would be plenty to get you through at least 18 hours. Charlene Smith, will I do a video on how to figure out what size generator to get based on what you want to run? I want to run a CPAP all night and need to figure out what size generator would get. Okay, and is exactly what I just said. You got to look on the CPAP machine, for example, see how many watts it uses, and then calculate how many hours, so you know how many watt hours it uses, and that'll give you an idea. If your CPAP machine uses 100 watts and you want to run it for 8 hours, you need 800 watt hours. So you need a generator that is going to have it to be able to have a capacity of 800 watt hours. So it's not hard math, but you got to go figure out each. And now if you want to run 2 different things, okay, now you're starting to talk about some multiplication and addition. You want to run that 100 watt CPAP for 8 hours, great. And you also want to, pick something. You want to cook something in a crock pot, 250 watts. Okay, you're going to cook it for 5 hours. Okay, so now I need 1250 watts and I need 800 watts. So there's 2000 watt hours that I'm going to use, but if I try to use the 100 and the 250 at the same time, you know, it can get a little intricate if you're going to start running multiple things at the same time too. Steve Sams, what are the best solar panels for a whole house set? I'll mount in the yard, not roof. So I'm guessing you are talking about rigid panels, okay? The ones I got were Canadian Solar. I'm extremely impressed with them, all right? Because the maximum input that they are rated for is 390 watts. The industry standard is to expect 80% of what the max is, okay? So you figure, that means I should figure a drop of about 75. So, okay, at 80%, I'd be getting what, 315 watts per panel. Except when the sun was blaring yesterday, I was getting like 370. That was unheard of, that I'm getting some 95, 96% efficiency. The other thing that was nice about them is for a 390 watt panel, I paid 138 bucks for them. Okay. So they weren't expensive by any means. By any means when we're talking about what solar costs. Okay. You can find panels that are made in the United States. The ones I have, the Canadian Solar ones. Canadian Solar does a lot of their manufacturing now in Detroit. The ones I have were actually made in Indonesia. They ain't made in China. You know, EcoFlow, of course, is made in China, but good luck finding a generator that isn't made in China. So, Master Blaster, a 30 amp air conditioner at 230 volts equals 6,900 watts. Yes. Heating and cooling is the biggest challenge for any prep or any prepper is water. Okay. It's the most simple thing that's so hard to prep because it doesn't store well. It takes up a lot of space for the amount you need. Hence the pond. Okay. Hence having my well pump. You know, backups to backups. This is the reason I went it, because you can't buy enough cases of water. You can't have enough IBC totes. I mean, I've got an IBC tote. It holds 250 gallons of water. Whoop-de freaking do. Okay. And if you're going, gee, well, you know, we'll just replenish the water with the rain. Now, twice since I've been here, 5 years in Tennessee, twice since I've been here, we've had periods that it was over 50 days that it didn't rain. I'd be dead if I was waiting for it to rain. Okay. So that was the reason there. But heating and cooling are the other two that are going to kill a lot of people. Now, obviously, more people die from the cold than die from the heat, but there's plenty of people that die from the heat too. So those are things that you always look at is how are you going to do a backup on, you know, what are you going to do for a heat source? And I mean, even if it means having a whole bunch of comforters. Many of you guys have talked about, and this works, okay? If you got to pitch a tent in your living room and you can just heat up that small little space and stay warm in the tent, okay? A space heater in the bathroom is a real good idea because you can enclose that small space. You're not trying to heat 500, 800 square feet, okay? Air conditioning gets even tougher, okay? Jumping in a pond, jumping in, you know, in the bathtub or whatever to cool you off is fine. You know, sitting around lounging, sipping lemonade in the cool is out of the picture. But yes, I know, lived in Vegas. I was in the Army in El Paso. I know hot, okay? One of the tricks we used to use in the Army was you get, you know, your oscillating fan or your box fan or whatever it is, and take a wet towel and hang it a foot or two in front of the fan. Not right in front of it, because all you're going to do then is block the air. But if you put it a foot or two in front, a towel is thick, so the air is not going to come through it. So it hits that towel and dissipates around. So it almost creates like a fan effect. And you can cool off a room a few degrees at least. But if you're close enough to it, you'll feel that cool air on you. And I know Mrs. P.S. goes, well, what about the humidity? You're blowing cold air. Okay, at that point, cold water. So you may get somewhat humid, but it's not like you're putting steam through the house. RLRL, my home gets 95% sun per day. Gonna have to give Solar One a call. There you go. Yeah, Jason called me today too. Rick's Corner. Trump rally will be in our town tomorrow night from a mile from my house. You probably have to go get in line now if you want to get in. I mean, it's the thing. I mean, if it was a Joe Biden rally, you could show up 5 minutes ahead of time and you get front row seats. You know, you go to a Trump rally, you know, it's like trying to get tickets to a rock concert back when I was a kid. You know, you go there when the ticket window is going to open and you're 800 people back in line. So. Randy Brown just came out of a tornado shelter. Yeah. To all those people in Oklahoma, I saw some of the videos on Weather Channel this morning. It was freaking, complete towns just wiped out, gone. You know, it's just, I watched a video on this one girl. Maybe some of you guys saw it. I guess she was off in college or whatever, and she was worried about her dog because her dog was back home with mom. And she's like, well, mom's house was wrecked, and my brother's house was wrecked, and my grandmother's house was wrecked. Fortunately, grandma was in the hospital for something else, not the tornado, because if she was in the house, she would have been killed. I'm going, okay, this family has nowhere to go. Mom's house is gone, grandma's house is gone, brother's house is gone. It's like, okay, you know, if one of them was still standing to go stay in the same house. They're not that much luck. So, yes, just it, you know, have we heard anything out of the White House out of it? No. Okay. P. Fletch, did I see where Joe is having marijuana moved down to a Schedule 3 drug? Methinks he's getting desperate for votes. Yeah, I saw something like that today. Basically, they're going to decriminalize marijuana. I want to know this. If they pull this one off, make it a Schedule 3 drug, what happens to all the people who were in prison, especially the ones who got 3 strikes? They're going, wait a minute, I'm in jail for what isn't even a crime anymore. Obviously, I've served my time because you've changed the laws. So now what I did wasn't even illegal. How is that going to mess up the court system? Because now this grants thousands, if not tens of thousands of people grounds for a new trial. You know, I'm in jail for a crime that doesn't exist, right? You know, it's not like they're ever going to say, you know what, hey, murder's okay now, so, you know, all the guys on death row are free to go. But you go back to the old saying, you know, how does a society kill itself? You know, with cardinal sins: sex, drugs, and gambling. Okay, you go back to the days when the only place you were going to gamble was in Vegas. Now you can gamble in practically any state in the country. All right. You talk about prostitution, they're making prostitution semi-legal all over the place. I mean, Christ, you know, with the biggest talk on the internet, you know, even Hollywood starlets and WNBA players, like, oh, I'm going to go make an OnlyFans account. You know, it's just online prostitution. Okay. So you got that, you know, hey, if we've got the gambling taken care of, we got the sex taken care of, why don't we just legalize all drugs too? And we could just completely destroy society. Anything a Democrat touches turns to shit. Husky Mom, my fridge is 11.6 amps times 120 volt line. 13. Okay, no. You need to look at everything in your house is going to run on 120. Okay, so it's not that you got the right idea on the math, but you're looking at the wrong stuff. Inside your refrigerator, there should be a plaque on there And if you read on it, you will find somewhere where it says watts. It'll tell you how many watts it pulls. Because, and you guys have seen me do the reviews on generators. Remember, a refrigerator is not like a light bulb. It doesn't run constantly, okay? The condenser comes on, then it shuts off. Then it comes on, and you'll get, I think mine, it'll run up there. When a condenser comes on, it runs about 700 watts. And then when it shuts off, it's running like 4, okay? So you gotta look at that too, because for some appliances, that is not a constant run. A freezer is another perfect example. Seven Customs, do I pressure can chicken often? If so, how much salt do we use? When we pressure can chicken, usually that's when I can find the bags of chicken thigh, leg quarters, legs and thighs all together. And then we'll cut the legs and thighs apart. We can them, yeah, that's the right word I'm looking for. Whole, bone on, everything like that. We use about a tablespoon of salt with them, and then pressure can them for 90 minutes for quarts. But yeah, I think we use I want to say I think it's like a tablespoon of salt. That's it. And pressure can chicken is really good when you take it out. Okay. Dan Rose, have I thought about a drone for my preps? I have one. Yeah. Specifically, what I have it for is for aerial surveillance, where I can fly a drone with a camera on it that comes right back to my phone, and I can see what's going on a couple of blocks away from me, okay, which is good recon. The reason you never see me do any drone videos is because there's an FCC law, and of course YouTube is on this too, that if you post any video from a drone, you have to register your drone and have a license to do it. I'm not interested in giving all that information to the FCC and everybody. And there's not a whole lot of video that I need to do that would ever have use of a drone. So that's the reason you don't do it. But I do have a drone. And I would recommend everybody have one for exactly the reason I talked to. It's good for surveillance. Find out where the bad guys are. They shoot down your drone. It's a lot better than shooting down you or a scout. Let's see. Montana Grizz fan says hello from Montana. Sorry for being late. You never have to apologize. Let's see. Okay. 308. I like the way you did that. I just spent all Saturday training both my boys with 22s. Good. Okay. Teach them how to shoot. Let them learn. And 22 is perfect. Again, we talked about this earlier. Something they're comfortable with. You're not going to give an 8-year-old, I don't know how old your boys are, you're not going to give an 8-year-old a 308 as his first gun and say, hey, here, go for it. No, teach them on 22, move them up. Teresa Kennedy, would you recommend the Opus for just running a fan or an electric blanket? You're not getting anywhere with an electric blanket. Anything that's got a heating element in it is going to suck a huge amount of power. A fan, again, it depends on the fan. I keep saying you need to look at the owner's manual or the plate that's on all these electronic devices and find out how many watts it runs, what its surge is, and make sure whatever you're trying to plug it into can handle it. Yeah, the plug fits, but that doesn't mean it's going to work. I could take the little Exodus 600, take it out to my garage. I'm not running a chop saw with that. It doesn't have the power. Okay. That will run small stuff. You're not going to take that 600, you're going to plug in your refrigerator. It's not going to do it. It doesn't have the power. It doesn't have the juice. But you need to look at the appliance that you're trying to run, figure out how much information or how much power it's going to take, and then see the generator that would match it. Original one shot, one kill. Thank you for the super chat for the pup shelter. There you go. Yes. Okay. So again, you guys know the Christmas drive that we do for toys, food, animal shelter. That's what he's talking about there. And then the other super chats that we get, that goes into our little Christmas trivia contest. So that's what we got going on. So, all right. Do. Next exit. I always shoot for the high shoulder at the spine. Okay. Well, face is a better spot. Personal thought. You know, I've never known anybody to have body armor over their head. You know, and your steel pot, your Kevlar helmet, that was meant to stop shrapnel. That was not meant to stop a bullet. Not going to do a whole lot of good there. Dave Moran, what do I think happened to Nikki Haley? She fell off the face of the earth. Oh, maybe she got the idea that nobody liked her. She took some, didn't she go take some teaching job somewhere or something like this? I mean, yeah, she fell off the face of the earth. I mean, she was getting like 40 people at a rally. I mean, it's not like she had a lot of support. All the people that voted for her are Biden voters. They just were trying to harass Trump. Didn't work. You know, Nikki Haley got laughed out of Washington. She's done. Her career's over. One shot, one kill. Consulting my crystal ball, who do I see as the VP pick for President Trump? We ask this every week. I think Kristi Noem is done. She kind of screwed that up. I'd still love to see Tucker Carlson get picked. I think that even Tucker Carlson as press secretary would be a lot of fun. I think he's making enough money. He's not worried about it. I don't know. I mean, whoever it is, he keeps saying it's going to surprise everybody, which tells me it's going to be another Sarah Palin type pick, and it's going to be a joke rather than a asset for the campaign. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe he picks DeSantis. You know, again, presidents and vice presidents don't have to look like each other. I mean, again, you know, one of the worst presidents in history, Lyndon Johnson, Kennedy couldn't stand him, okay? But he wanted LBJ to help carry Texas, okay? Then, of course, LBJ goes and has JFK killed. You know, great friends they were. But maybe DeSantis? I mean, I still say, as much as I like Vivek Ramaswamy, he's not ready to be VP. And when I say not ready to be VP, it's because he's not ready to be the 2028 candidate. Whoever Trump picks has got to be willing to carry on exactly what Trump is doing, because Trump only gets one term, guys. That's it. 2020. So whoever he picks has got to be somebody that's going to carry on exactly what's going on. That's the hard part. Can't be somebody who wants to do something different. We got 2 minutes left. PGA, I just got my 5-pound potato seeds. Do I cut them in half before planting? You can, then just make sure to let them sit on the counter and dry out for a few days, that cut to heal. Basically, if they're smaller potatoes, if you've got, you want to put seed potatoes in that have like 1 or 2 chits on them, 1 or 2 eyes, okay? If you've got a potato that's got 6 and it's a bigger potato, yeah, cut it in half, 3 on one side, you cut it in thirds, whatever, you know, but make sure that after you cut them, you let them sit on the counter for 3, 4, 5 days till that cut potato kind of gets a scab over it. Otherwise, it's going to rot in the ground. Okay? But you just need to make sure you've got 1, if not 2 eyes on each piece. Trying to go quick. John Faramelli, good evening, Mr. P. At what point is it acceptable for Billy Badass to come out? I do not understand the question whatsoever. Delta Prepper, have you ridden the e-bike lately? Would you still recommend one for a prep? Yes, I have ridden it lately. Haven't done a whole lot with it. It's been winter. But yeah, I have tooled around on it a little bit, make sure it runs. And yes, I'd still recommend it as a prep because, as I said, it's great, cheap transportation for shorter distances. Okay. But it's also a good way to carry stuff with power assist. I mean, put a rack on the back of it, you put some bags over it or something like that, and now you can power assist your way along. You're not trying to carry bags all over the place. Uh, Original one shot, one kill. Pinball, what is the biggest build project you've done? I'm assuming you're meaning something that I've actually done with my hands. And that was, I remodeled my entire basement in my house in Indiana from concrete to, I did everything from the studs to the cabinets to the drywall, the tile work, the doors, everything. The only thing I did not do down there was the electric and run the plumbing. That was it. But other than that, everything from studs out, laying carpet, whole 9 yards, I did all. And it is 9 o'clock, and that would mean it's Angry Prepper time, which means I'm out of here. Have a good one, y'all. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.